Amy.
I'm Wendell.
And I'm Patrick.
And
this is
Yes,
But Why
Podcast. Welcome, Chris Trew, to the Yes, But Why Podcast.
Hello.
This is the official 1-year anniversary episode. This is the 52nd episode that we've had, which means we have been doing episodes weekly for 1 year.
Congratulations.
Crazy.
Thank you
To me
so much.
for being on this one. Also to you, for sure. That's great. That's big.
I've only been here 2 months. So
I am really glad that thank you so much for being with us for the 1 year. I thought it would be a fun, celebratory. You got me into comedy, and now I can...
I'm thrilled. I really am. I think it's really sweet and special that you've been doing this for a year. I think that people might sleep on the amount of work and effort it takes to do something weekly, and you done damn did it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild how that works. In fact, sometimes we just release them weekly. Occasionally we'll do 2 or 3 interviews in a week, which is fun. But the best part is getting to meet all the people there. We've done a lot of interviews with people that we know, but we've also done interviews with people we don't, where we're like, I heard about this person, let's call them. Or I met one of my husband's cousins at a Christmas party, and turned out she did improv workshops for corporate companies in Houston, and I was like, talking to you.
Cool.
I want to know what that's about. Let's discuss that. So yeah, it's a really interesting thing. So just to kick us off, Chris Trew, how did you get started in comedy?
Yeah, okay. So I started... I did the thing when you were a kid, when you took acting classes.
Oh, yeah?
You know, I did a lot of that stuff. I think when you asked me in the 5th, 6th grade area, what were you going to be when you grew up, it was actor. And then I found out that Jim Carrey was the dude for me, for a lot of people. I think in my demographic. And then when I found out that he started with stand-up comedy, then it was like, okay, you should do stand-up. I should do stand-up comedy. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, that's very terrifying. I didn't love it early enough to take the blows for trying to do stand-up at a young age. But then, but sketch comedy, again, this is a very standard trajectory, I think, for a lot of people. Then it was like, sketch comedy seems fun. It's combining stand-up, kind of, and acting. So then it was like, let's just do sketch comedy. And so then I did the thing that people did with their parents' video cameras, and you self-edit stuff. But I think the thing where it started to become really real for me was in high school. I was also a very late bloomer when it came to sex and drinking and all that kind of stuff that people eventually do a lot and love doing. I was a late bloomer. I didn't drink until I got into college, I wasn't like crazy, super girl crazy, in high school. So I was still very much like I was comedy crazy, I think, first. And so we would go to parties and play, only to play videos that we made. Me and my friend Dustin Diaz, my friend Chris Carrington, we would make videos. And we would do intros. We would hold the camera up and press play on a CD player, record a thing, press pause on the camera while pressing pause on the CD player at the same time to do intro sequences. Then we would go to parties and try to get people in a room to watch these videos. So everyone, all of our other friends are kissing people and touching each other's private parts, and we are trying to get people to watch our comedy videos. So that was the thing. I guess just that rush of people watching your stuff and laughing at it was the thing that just made it really real. And so then from there it was just like, how do you do the next thing? How do you do the next thing? And then do I keep going?
No, it's okay.
Well, that was the start. I mean, and then also around this time was the internet became a thing.
Right.
And I'm talking now 97, 98, and then it was like, oh, you can do this, but also do this on the internet, and anyone can watch it anywhere, and it just kind of kept snowballing from there.
Yeah, wild. Did you have anybody in your family or like around you that was doing theater or comedy that you like were like, I want to be like that person?
Hell no.
No?
No.
Just sort of came from you or came from TV and watching in living color?
Yeah, and you know what? I've never thought about that. Actually, I was watching. Oh, I said Jim Carrey. I was like, how did you know that? I forgot that I just said that.
That's his reference. That's the beginning of him.
My family. I credit mom and dad for a lot of the way that I think I am right now. Like the things that I like about me, I think it's because of them. But they never did any sort of performance or any sort of. I mean, they were very encouraging and supportive, but it wasn't like. Oh, I make these jokes because my mom, always made these jokes. I mean, that just wasn't the case for me.
Yeah.
And my brother is like military, married his high school sweetheart, has 3 kids. My sister been working working in the same field as my mother for most of her life, has a couple kids. Like everyone is I love them all. They're all great, but none of them are anywhere close to the arts side as I am.
Yeah.
So I don't know where it came from.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess you were just business minded from the beginning. My own personal history is similar in that, when I was in high school, as soon as I started theater, I was like, well, I'm no longer interested in anything else except for this.
Right.
I'll be doing this all the time now.
You get bit.
Yeah, and it was like even, I was a late bloomer too because it was like, well, I needed to get my first professional stage management gig before I had a boyfriend. Why? Did you need one? I don't understand.
Right.
So it was like internships at festivals were more important than trying to, have some sort of like, drinking or drugs or whatever. It was like, listen, I've got to put on a play right now.
Yeah.
So, I wonder.
Yeah, I say this maybe like a little bit sad, but I mean this in a really nice, sweet way. But I think that I have a lot of early friendships that went sour on my end because we started doing something creative together, and then I wanted to keep doing it, and then they were like, I'm just doing this for fun, and I'm like, I want to do this like for real. Yeah. And then it kind of got into it got in between us. And it, not in like a nasty, terrible way, but that is kind of a sort of. Obviously, when I was a lot younger, that was kind of a recurring theme for me, where it was like, I want to make, I want to make this basketball joke magazine that I'm going to like print using my mom's printer at work, and we're all going to be writers on this project. And then cut to 2 months later, and then they're like, we don't want to do it anymore. And then I'm like, well, fuck you,
Deadlines tomorrow.
And so I think that I just took a lot of those things like super seriously really early, which sometimes I think I was in the right for that, but a lot of times it was like I was taking it too seriously, Yeah,
I don't know. I think about that all the time too, because it's like I think. Well, both of us are lucky to have found spouses that are in the same sort of vibe, for sure, because then it's like, well, I don't have to worry about maintaining this relationship because they're also busy with other things doing that kind of stuff. But it's like, it's hard to maintain friendships if they're not like sort of as super serious as you are about the same kinds of things. I find even as an adult, like the people who are my bestest friends are the ones that it's like, no, do you want to work on this insane project forever together? Like, yeah, okay, let's do that. And it's like, okay, we're best friends now. Like, whereas some people like just disappear because it's like, all right, well, hey, we had a good time. It was good. You're great. Good old Facebook keeps us so I can be like, I love your baby, or like, hey, looks like you're having a fun time as a marketing executive or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. In this world, I feel like we have to all accept the fact that like we have different paths and we move on in different ways. And if people aren't working hard, then how are they ever going to get there? Especially in this particular industry. I mean, just. I was like, don't beat yourself up, buddy. Fine then, buddy.
Yeah.
The other week, like after True West got done, I was like, sweet. I told one of my friends I'm going to have way more time now. He's like, awesome. What nights are you free? I was like, so Wednesday, part of Friday now. So those are the only nights I'm not doing comedy. Is that cool? Can we hang out on those nights?
Wednesday between 7 and 8:30, and Friday at like 4 p.m. between.
They're friends, They're friends that still don't get it. It's just like, I got addicted and I'm back into it, so here we are. It's going to be writing or rehearsing or doing a performance or just randomly getting up on a stage.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like a lot of friends of people like us, have a hard time understanding the level of passion for making a thing that they don't understand even how to even begin creating, and also the level of accessibility you have to do those types of things in various outlets. Yeah. So it's like, for them, it's like, you do comedy. Oh, so like you want to be on Saturday Night Live, or you want to do a stand-up show like that special I saw on Netflix. It's like, no, you can actually do this on many on a ton of different levels here, and I'm doing it a lot on this level. It's very difficult for people to wrap their brains around.
Yeah, just the sheer idea. In fact, part of the reason why I wanted to start this podcast was to like reveal to people that like being famous is not the only thing.
Right,
like it's
right.
like, yeah, that's great. I'm super excited for those people when I see them do well. Like, go you. But like, I'm still doing it. I'm still have the same amount of output and like artistic integrity and like audience, appreciation that any of these people have. Maybe this guy's making $1 million because he happened to get picked up by HBO, but it's still the same as far as art goes. It's like I'm still doing this sort of like art and fulfilling that passion within me.
Right. And with comedy, it's a weird thing too, because a lot of people are beginning to understand the different levels of success in other art forms. So it's like if you tell someone, oh, I'm a musician, then they would almost understand if you were, and I say just with air quotes, if you were just playing the acoustic stage at the farmer's market every other weekend, people would can understand that. They know that when you say I'm a musician, it doesn't mean that I'm on tour playing arenas and my music video gets seen by 1,000 people, whatever the hell, But with comedy, people almost don't understand that middle ground. They don't understand that there are people making decent livings, touring, doing shows in tiny Midwest towns where they get paid enough for them to survive, and they are super happy they have made it.
Yeah. In fact, Chris, my husband and I were just talking about the idea of like the different kinds of lifestyles that you like accept based on what you want out of your life. Because it was like, we have some friends that are like, they make more money, and so they like buy things, they go on vacations, or they do a bunch of other stuff. And we're just like, that's just not, we don't have those things, like, but we don't care. Like, that's not when we have extra money, we spend it on like equipment, or like, I go and buy a ton of props, or like, I put it into, media so that we can make a short film or whatever. It's like, that's what my money goes to, because that's what I care about. And a lot of people feel like you have to live a certain lifestyle. It's like, if I don't live in a mansion with like a butler or whatever, it's like, what? I can clean my own house. I'm fine.
One of the things that I did early in comedy, whenever I had moved to Austin, and I was still working at a couple different jobs. I remember thinking to myself, I want to not work these jobs because they don't make me happy. What I want to do is the comedy stuff more. So then it was like, well, then I could pull that off if I don't do XYZ. If I stop, eating out as much, and I don't have, whatever the things are, like, that you cut out and minimize in your life, then like you really can do those things. Like before in 2005, when I was like, I got bit by improv, and I was like, I want to do this. And at the time, I think we're all very lucky now that you can move to many different cities and dive headfirst into improv and learn the craft and like get a ton of opportunities. But 2003, 2004, if you wanted to do improv, you were going to LA, Chicago, or New York. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to go to Chicago, and so I sold my car and quit my job and was like, this is what I'm going to do to afford, I have to do this to afford this. And afterwards it was like, I can keep doing these things if I don't have a car. So that, like, I never got another car. I think that making adjustments like that to do the things that make you happy, I think, is vital. But also, I have to say, I have to also add in there, I don't begrudge anyone who does things a different way than I do them. Like,
oh, sure. Like,
I always feel a little self-conscious whenever I talk about, like, sell your car and then go and do comedy, because some people are like, well, riding buses doesn't make me happy. It's like, cool, then don't sell your car.
Right.
Like, figure out what your car is, what the car is to you, what your car is to you, meaning like car to me, I'll sell a car and I'll rent them. I'll take car to goes. I will ask for rides and try to return the favor in other ways if I can. So what is that for you? Like what can you shed so that you don't have to work a job that you don't want to work?
Yeah, it's like could you stop drinking as much? You could,
That's a big one.
Save a lot of money if you don't drink